Hey, what's going on, guys? From Gaming here, back another video. Today's episode, we are taking a look at how to play the Brewmaster Monk Season 3 of the War Within. This guide is going to be specific to beginners for Mythic Plus, and the overall goal, by the end of this video, you'll have enough information to be able to take yourself to a 10 key. If you guys want the talents, we're going to leave a link in the description of the video. That being said, let's get started. Also, apologies if we do sound a little bit sick at the moment. We do have a small sinus infection, but we are grinding through it. So let's go ahead and come to a normal tanking dummy, and let's go ahead and just auto attack it. And you'll notice the tanking dummy is attacking us back, and we're building a resource here. And this resource is called Stagger, and Stagger is essentially how you mitigate damage as a Brewmaster. So if you open your spellbook and you type in the word Stagger, you'll see here, as a passive effect, you shrug off attacks, delaying a portion of your physical damage based on your agility. Instead, taking over 10 seconds affects magical attacks at 58% effectiveness, gain up to 50% mastery based on your current level of Stagger. So what this is saying is the more that this bar fills up, the more of this damage, you're really just delaying your damage over time. You're still going, as this bar fills up, this is all damage that you're going to eventually take. You are just simply delaying it. And if you notice, the Stagger bar goes as high as your health bar, your current maximum health. So your goal is to kind of offset this stagger and try to mitigate the effects of it. Now we have a couple ways that we can do that. We have a spell here called Purifying Brew. And Purifying Brew, if we read it out here, this is based on a recharge system. So this will clear 60% of your damage delayed with Stagger. And this will also heal you for 25% of the damage cleared. So what this means is if your bar was full of Stagger, you would go down to 60 Stagger when you press that button, and then you would heal for a percentage of that. So this is the main way that we kind of manage our Stagger, is through this Purifying Brew spell. So that's kind of the core behind playing Brewmaster Monk. Let's go ahead and jump into some of the basic spells here. So first spell I want to go over here is going to be something called Keg Smash. So Keg Smash, you'll just read this out. This does physical damage, reduces enemies' movement speed by 20% for 15 seconds, and this grants something called Shuffle for 5 seconds that reduces the remaining cooldown on your brews by 3 seconds. Now, the Shuffle buff is something that you want to have decent uptime on, because that's going to improve the effectiveness of our Stagger. So as I attack this dummy here, you can see I now have this Shuffle buff, and our Stagger is 100% more effective, so we can cast it again, and you can see, you know, it kind of works off this 5-second sort of recharge timer. Now, the beauty of this is we have multiple ways to activate our Shuffle due to the Shuffle passive talent here. So this could be activated by your Keg Smash, your Blackout Kick, and your Spinning Crane Kick. So what this means is we need to keep our Blackout Kick on cooldown and our Keg Smash on cooldown as much as we possibly can. Now, the great thing about this is our Blackout Kick doesn't cost anything. It's just on a 4-second cooldown, does not cost any energy, but your Keg Smash does cost energy. Now, if we remember from earlier, we did also talk about Spinning Crane Kick in the Shuffle passive. Now, you do not want to be casting Spinning Crane Kick that much unless there's nothing else to press. And the reason for that is because you want to be spending most of your energy on your Keg Smashes. You want to be using that for the Shuffle buff. It's Spinning Crane Kick, while it does provide the Shuffle buff, it does not reduce the cooldown on our brews like Keg Smash does. So if we go back to Keg Smash really quick and just read it, grant Shuffle for 5 seconds and reduces the remaining cooldown of your brews by 3 seconds. So what are brews? Well, the brew, we've already talked about one of the brews. That's going to be your Purifying Brew. You have a couple of them that we're not even talented into, but you have Fortifying Brew in this build, and you have Purifying Brew. If you remember from earlier, Purifying Brew is how we're going to manage our Staggers. So we want as much CDR on this as we can possibly get. And the only way we're going to get that CDR is through our Keg Smash. So just make sure you're prioritizing Keg Smash over Spinning Crane Kick at all times. Doesn't matter if it's single target, doesn't matter if it's AoE. Okay, so we talked about that. Let's go ahead and talk about Rushing Jadewind now. So Rushing Jadewind is on a 5-second cooldown. This is instant cast. It does not cost any energy. And a big reason that we take this, because this is actually an energy saver for us, and it closes a lot of the gaps in our rotation. So without Rushing Jadewind, we'd find ourselves pressing Tiger Palm and Spinning Crane Kick a lot more, wasting energy to fill the gap in our rotation. So Rushing Jadewind kind of solves that issue for us. So that's why it's in our rotation. It should be a core spell. You should be using it pretty much on cooldown. Another spell I'm going to talk about or go back to, I guess, is our Tiger Palm. through our blackout combo. So it actually, blackout kick actually buffs some of your other abilities. So read here, blackout kick also empowers your next ability, and it's got the different abilities here that it empowers. So it's very important to follow up your blackout kick with the correct spell so that you're utilizing this combo. Now, typically you're going to be consuming this buff with a Tiger Palm. So in most cases, after you blackout kick, you want to follow that up with a Tiger Palm. So we're not really talking about Tiger Palm yet. Let's go ahead and go into that. Tiger Palm is going to be one of your most basic spells. It costs 25 energy, and this will reduce the remaining cooldown of your brews by 1 second. Now, Tiger Palm has a few things kind of going on with it. So if you go to your tree and you type in Tiger Palm, you can see that we have some nodes that kind of light up here on the right. So we have this Counter Strike passive that just basically makes our Tiger Palm hit for more damage. We have our Face Palm. We get additional CDR on our brews by pressing Tiger Palm and more damage through it. Through Overwhelming Force, that turns our Tiger Palm into an AOE ability, and then it just further buffs to Tiger Palm. So that's the main reason that we use this combo with our Tiger Palm, is because it gives us a 5% damage reduction, and it gives us a whole bunch of damage, and it also gives us CDR on our brews, right, through our Face Palm, and then the base cooldown reduction on Tiger Palm is 1 second, so 1.5 seconds CDR on our brews. And then up next, we have our Rising Sun Kick. So Rising Sun Kick, if you type that into your talent tree, you can see there's a couple things that pop up. And Rising Sun Kick is kind of more geared towards healing than damage. It does do some pretty good damage, don't get me wrong, right, through Way of Thousand Strikes, through Overwhelming Force. But it also procs a couple things. The first thing is going to be our Spirit of the Ox here. So it can summon these healing spheres that you can move over and pick up. To show you what that looks like, we can attack this dummy here. And you can see we have these healing spheres on the ground that we can run over that will do some healing to us. Now, it didn't look like it did much healing there because the dummy was attacking us, but it did heal us for a bit. And then another thing it procs is Vivacious Vivification here. So after casting Rising Sun Kick, your next Vivify becomes instant and its healing increased by 20%. This effect also reduces the energy cost of Vivify by 75%. So I would track this with some sort of weak aura. Whenever you come into the dummy, right, and you attack it, you can see we did get a proc here. Oh, I pressed the wrong button. Right here. So we Rising Sun Kicked, and we got a proc here, Vivacious Vivification. And now our Vivify will be instant cast, and it will cost a whole bunch less energy. So just know that Rising Sun Kick has some healing properties attached to it that you will need to play around. Okay, that's pretty much it in terms of like your basic sort of core spells, I do believe. We have like Expel Harm, which can be used kind of as a self-heal, so I can use this on myself. Did a little bit of healing. If you don't know about Expel Harm, it does more healing based on your missing health. So you can just kind of keep that in mind. We also have a spell here called Chi Burst. Not too much to know about Chi Burst. You will use this on pool as you're at range from the target. And this is buffed up by quite a bit through our manifestation here. So it increases damage of Chi Burst by 100%. And you can utilize Chi Burst to either heal or deal damage. Okay, next thing I want to go over is this little bar here, and playing specifically as a Master of Harmony. So at the top here, you see Aspect of Harmony, store vitality from 50% of the damage dealt and 7% of your effective healing. After casting a Celestial Brew, your spells and abilities draw upon stored vitality and deal 40% increased damage over 8 seconds. So basically, as you deal damage, as you heal, you're going to be storing up this bar of power that you can kind of release out in like a big burst of energy and do a whole bunch of damage and healing with it. So you need a weak aura for this. The weak aura, I'm still in combat. Let me drop combat. Okay, the weak aura that I would recommend is going to be a Vitality Tracker here. I'll try to remember to put a link in the description of the video. But that's going to be this red bar that you're seeing here. And as this bar fills up, that's when you need to press this spell called Celestial Infusion. And essentially what that bar is just additional bonus damage. And if you can deal enough damage to deplete that bar like I did there, then, well, you'll get all your bonus damage out. So kind of weird. You just download the weak aura and play around with it a little bit. You'll kind of understand a little bit more just from playing around with it. So that's kind of how that works. Let's take a quick look at our opener here. So we'll kind of go through this together, but at the very start, you're going to be casting your Rushing Jade Wind. We're going to Chi Burst from a distance like we talked about earlier. And then you'll go into a Keg Smash, Blackout Kick, and then Tiger Palm. Remember, we want to follow every Blackout Kick with a Tiger Palm. And we want to get that Keg Smash out as quickly as we possibly can to proc our Shuffle. Now from here, we have a cooldown called Weapons of Order, which we have not talked about yet. Let's quickly talk about that. So Weapons of Order, it's going to be right here. 2-minute cooldown for the next 30 seconds. Your mastery is increased. Additionally, Keg Smash's cooldowns reset instantly, and enemies hit with Keg Smash or Rising Sun Kick take 8% increased damage for 10 seconds, stacking up 4 times. So it's really good defensively, because if you're not sure what our mastery is, it's a stacking effect of a dodge chance. So more mastery we get, the more we can dodge abilities. But yeah, going back to our opener, that's why we will Keg Smash directly after Weapons of Order. And then after Keg Smash, our Blackout Kick will be ready again. We can follow that up with another Tiger Palm. Then we can Rising Sun Kick, get some of the healing procs from that. Keg Smash into another Blackout Kick. And again, the reason we're casting these same spells over and over again is because we're proccing different combos, and we're proccing our stagger, right? We're wanting to take as much advantage, or our shuffle, excuse me. So we're going to take advantage of Blackout combo, and we're wanting to take advantage of our shuffle. But from here, you'll just refresh your Rushing Jade one, and then you go into your single target AOE priority. So taking a look at this opener here, it's going to be a Rushing Jade one into a Chi Burst, into a Keg Smash, Blackout Kick, Tiger Palm, Weapons of Order, Keg Smash, Blackout Kick, Tiger Palm, Rising Sun Kick, Keg Smash, Blackout Kick, refresh your Rushing Jade one. Okay, up next we have our Touch of Death. We haven't talked about that, but it's just an execute ability, and we do get a damage amp whenever we execute. So you want to Touch of Death as much as you can. You can only use this on mobs that have less health than us, which is nice as a tank because we have so much health. So we kind of utilize this as a pretty strong execute. From here, we have that Blackout combo that we talked about earlier through our Blackout Kick. Always follow that up with a Tiger Palm. We have Chi Burst here. Just use Chi Burst kind of on pull. As you do get that vitality stored up that we talked about, that weak aura from earlier, you do want to be proccing your Celestial Infusion in this specific build. That's going to release those charges. From here, we want to use our Weapons of Order on cooldown. We've not talked about our Black Ox yet. So Black Ox is a 2-minute cooldown. And the main portion of this is the bottom half. While active, 40% of the damage delayed by stagger is instead staggered by our pet here, and is healed for 100% of your purified stagger. So long story short, it's a defensive ability that we can utilize to reduce the damage as we're taking from our stagger. To show you what it looks like here, we can proc it, and it's this little pet here, and he'll just kind of assist us here in battle. So you need to use that if we will be fighting for at least 25 seconds. From here, we will want to Keg Smash with our Weapons of Order, right? Because Weapons of Order will reset the cooldown on our Keg Smash. From here, we'll Rising Sun Kick. We want to take advantage of that Vivacious Vivification we talked about earlier, that instant cast Vivify, and the healing spheres that we get from it. Up next, we have Exploding Keg, which we've not talked about earlier. So make sure you have Rushing Jade one active beforehand. So essentially what this is going to do is this is going to turn our Explosive Jade one into like this big sort of fire damage ability. So let's just read it out. 1-minute cooldown, hurl a flaming keg at the target, dealing fire damage to nearby enemies, causing your attacks against them to deal additional fire damage, and causing their melee attacks to deal 100% reduced damage for 3 seconds. So this is good to use with something like a Rushing Jade one. So you're gonna make sure that is up right before we go into our Exploding Keg. So to show you what that looks like. And that kind of turns our Rushing Jade one into like an AOE sort of like fire damage ability. From here, we'll use our Rushing Jade one. We'll continue to use our charges of Keg Smash, and we'll utilize our Tiger Palms behind our Blackout Kicks. Okay, this is going to be our AOE priority. Pretty similar to the single target. There are some changes though. First thing is Touch of Death. That stays the same in priority when you use that whenever we can. Next is going to be the Black Ox. The Black Ox is going to do more damage due to its stomp effect in AoE, so it has a higher priority in AoE. Pretty good damage cooldown. This was in step 2 from the last screenshot. So Blackout Kick to trigger Blackout combo. So very important that you get your combos kind of rolling. From here, we'll be utilizing our Chi Burst. We'll consume that Blackout combo with our Tiger Palm. So in a very similar spot, again, to our single target. This is where things kind of change a little bit. We'll go into Keg Smash, and then the Exploding Keg Rushing Jade one combo is up a little bit higher in priority here. So that was step 10 in the previous screenshot. It is a 7 here. From here, we'll be using our Celestial Infusion to spin our Vitality through Aspect of Harmony. And then from here, we can go into that Weapons of Order. You could follow this up with a keg smash. You will get that reset right. But truly, the next in priority would be Rising Sun Kick into Rushing Jadewind, then a keg smash. And then finally, we see Spinning Crane Kick if there's nothing else to press. So if your Tiger Palm is not buffed by a Blackout combo, that's pretty much the only time you'll be pressing a Spinning Crane Kick, and there's nothing else to press. All right, guys, that's the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. See you in the next one.